Hello. Hi, Kristi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Linda?
I'm really well. Hello, everyone who's joining Kristi and I either live or later on the replay. It's nice to see you this week. We missed last week, so we're happy to be here. And this is a standing weekly episode that we do. Kristi and I, we like to talk about things around health, things that make a difference for wellness, for women in particular, because we both work with women. And so we're going to talk today, and this is streaming in multiple places. We have it in our Valentine group that we run together. We have it on my business pages. Kristi shared it all over the place. So please say hello whenever you do watch. And if you have any questions for us, we're going to try to answer them as we go, and then we'll go back later and check. Okay, so today we thought that we would talk about the way that people have been conditioned to believe their health, especially as we age, or health and aging as two different things, or what you think happens with health as you age. So, because I don't know about you folks listening, but I had a lot of preconceptions about that. And hi, Trish. Trish just said hi. Nice surprise to see us. Good. Glad that you grabbed on, grabbed us. So anyway, Kristi, what did you want to say hello to everybody before we dive in? Anything you want to share?
Sure. Maybe we could just introduce ourselves here quickly. We sometimes forget to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm Kristi Siriano. I am a board certified functional wellness coach. And what that means really is that I help women who are struggling with chronic disease dynamics like autoimmunity or thyroid dysfunction or hormone imbalances. And they don't want to just live with it. And they don't want to just medicate away the symptoms and pray it doesn't get worse. They want to understand why it's happening and fix it. So we work to bring the body back into balance and back to our natural state of health and energy and vitality. So I think that is a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about today. But I'll let Linda introduce herself first.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So, and what I really want you all to notice is Kristi said she's a board certified. Not everybody is. That's a big deal. That took a lot of work. So board certified is, she got a lot of knowledge there in that field, and in lots of fields, but right there. So to me, my name is Linda Downey. I am a transformational health and spiritual coach. I have a background in functional medicine as well, functional health, because of my own journey. But I really focus now working with women in particular around overcoming, like, being stuck in stress, being stuck in anxiety, being stuck in patterns in their relationships or in the way that they work, the way they show up at work, anywhere where they're exhausting themselves, they're overworking, they're not feeling fulfilled, they feel disconnected from self, they have a high level of stress and a nervous system that seems to be running all the time. So it's affecting sleep, autoimmune, that was me, and all of the things that really stop them from living a great life. So that's what I focus on. And we like to get together each week and put our heads together and really try to share some information and insights. And we would love to know topics that you are interested in, that we could maybe speak to if we can. So that's who I am. And when I say transformational health and spiritual coach, because to me, our spirituality is part of our health, is part of who we are. So we definitely do a lot of work in the spiritual realm in terms of connecting to our deeper inner self. And we also work a lot on how we think and how we manage our emotions, which all goes into, all of who you are as a human being. So that's who I am.
Yes, love it.
So, yeah, so today, I wanted to ask all of you, if you're listening live or coming on later to watch the replay, what comes to your mind? What's the automatic thinking that you have when you think of aging? Let's start with aging, right? What does it mean to age? What does that typically look like? What are you expecting for yourself? When do you expect to start to see those things happen? Because if you can start to really understand how you already have a thought about it, you already have an expectation as to how it's going to go, right?
Yes, yes. And I think, culturally, our expectation is that our health is going to go downhill as we age, that we are going to gain weight and have less energy and more pain and things like arthritis and cardiovascular disease increase as we age, even things like cancer and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. We think of so many of these things as they just happen as we age. And especially if you have disease processes already, maybe in your 30s or 40s or 50s, what is that going to look like as you age? Our expectation is, I think, culturally, is that it's going to continue to get worse, right? That we're going to continue to get less energetic, more feeble, more decrepit, that we're going to have wrinkles and turn gray and hair loss. And, some of those things, obviously, our physical bodies are going to age. But I believe firmly, and I know you do too, Linda, that health and vitality is our natural state, and that all of these things that we view as normal parts of aging are not normal at all, and that they're actually the result of our own choices, our own thoughts, our own food and lifestyle choices, and the way that we've been conditioned to live our lives.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it when you're like having lunch with a friend or you're out for a walk, and how common it is to say, "Oh, that's what happens when you get old. Well, after 40, everything's downhill. I knew this was coming." Or you forget something and somebody says, "Well, there's that brain fog. That's just what happens." And if you push back, or at least this has been my experience, sometimes I've pushed back like, actually, I don't think I just need to accept brain fog. And this was many years ago when I was young, and it was because of my autoimmune and because of my dysregulated state and all of that. That was what was causing the brain fog. But so many people would say to me, "Oh yeah, welcome to the 40s," So just really understanding the automatic acceptance / expectation of how we age, and then also the automatic expectation of health. Let's talk about that separate from aging. So when you don't feel well, like you notice symptoms like brain fog or energy loss, fatigue, you're not sleeping well, or your belly's always a problem, what do you say to yourself about that? Right? I think most people will go, "Oh, I have fill in the blank. Oh, I have irritable bowel. Oh, I have Hashimoto's. Oh, I have whatever it is. And now I just have to learn how to live with that. I have to learn how to deal with that." I think that's a cultural conditioning around health. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree 100% that is our conditioning, that these things are just going to happen. It's inevitable that they're going to get worse. That's inevitable. And the best we can hope for is to take a medication to reduce the symptoms, to slow the progression. And I see this every day in the women that I talk with who struggle with autoimmune disease, that this is the only option that they are given from the conventional medical world is take these medications to control your symptoms, take this medication to try to slow the progression of your disease and keep you stable. But that's really the best you can hope for.
Yeah. And even look at the commercials. I was just thinking this as you were talking. Look at the commercials on TV. Like there's just like a palette of commercials for things, right? And then I don't even AstraZeneca just popped into my head because I think I see that one a lot. Or all the different ones, things for psoriasis. There's a pill for everything. And when you see those commercials on a regular basis, it's like, okay, well, this is how I deal with these things that I might have, or, conversations with your friends. What pills are you on? What medications are you taking? So I just think that, so Trisha's saying, I think it can be conditioning in some respect, but being 64, the body does do age-related things. It does, Trish, but I promise you, if you, unwound or rewound any stored stuck stuff in your body, and you addressed 100%, like your food, your exposure to sunlight and movement and clean water, and when I say food, like healthy food that's actually got nutrients, you would see things really improve. So that's, yes, there's aging, but aging does not need to be debilitating. Aging doesn't need to be painful, like automatically there's pain involved. Aging doesn't need to mean weight gain either. The hormonal changes that happen are very much related to our lifestyle, and it's the hormonal changes that cause a lot of the things that happen in our body. Would you agree, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that just struck me as you were talking is we talk a lot, Linda, about the importance of our thoughts and our beliefs. And our beliefs tend very much to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is just a tiny little example of this, but I was just speaking with a client this morning on a coaching call. And this is a beautiful woman who has reversed her autoimmune diseases, 2 of them, and we're still working on some other things. And she said to me, I was starting to get that achy feeling, and that's always the first sign for me that I'm getting sick. And I just decided, no, I'm not getting sick. And she doubled down on all of her habits that she knows how to do, the healthy foods, the supplements, the sleep, all of the things. And she didn't get sick. She was fine. And I believe that decision, that belief that, no, this isn't inevitable that I'm going to get sick just because this is what has happened in the past. When I've started having this achy feeling, I get sick. That doesn't mean that it has to happen that way this time. And I believe that her belief created an incredibly powerful nocebo effect. We hear about the placebo effect, and it is very real, you guys. There is so much scientific research on the placebo effect, and the nocebo effect is equally real. That if we choose to believe that these things are not true, that this is not inevitable, that I don't have to get sick just because I'm seeing this one early warning sign that has happened before I got sick in the past. So I think to Trish and to all of you who share that belief, yes, we are going to age, and yes, my hair may get gray, and I may develop a few more wrinkles than I used to have, but that does not mean it is inevitable for me to have disease processes in my body. If I am fueling my body well and caring for my body well and doing all of the things that she needs to be vibrant and well, I have every intention of being healthy and energetic and not taking any prescription medications well into my 90s. And my goal is 115.
Yeah. And here's what I think could really be helpful for people who are listening to us and going, yeah, okay, that's what you two think. But if you can even find one example, and there are many, 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 if you can find one example of a person over 100 who's living vitally, who's moving, who's got vibrant energy, who continues to participate. How about one person in their 80s, right? If you can even find one example, if you can find one example of an athlete who's continuing to train and participate in their 80s, and we see them all the time. Not only that, because you may say, well, I don't want to be an athlete. I'm not interested in bodybuilding and being the Masters champion at 85. I get that. But another place to look is the blue zones around the world.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
just
the blue,
thinking.
yeah, I was like, okay, there's the blue zones we could talk about, and then there's actually, examples of people. And right on social media, you'll see people who are, there's one woman on Instagram called Train with Joan, and she's probably well into her 70s. She has an amazing physique, and she does a lot of before and after where she was heavy and inflamed, like quite heavy, as a grandma, and changed her diet and all the things. And she can easily wear a bathing suit and look cut and all of that stuff. So you may not, as I said, be interested in bodybuilding or training in that way. But the blue zones, if you've never heard of them, are zones throughout the world. What are there, Kristi? I think 8 of them, particularly in the world.
That's right. Yeah. 7 or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8, I'm not sure. And like Okinawa, Japan is one. There's one in Italy. There's actually one in California, maybe 2 in the US.
Loma
Linda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Loma Linda. So I knew you would know. See, I'm telling you, board certified. She knows her stuff. So, but the blue zones are areas where the people are living well into so their lifespan alone is much higher. And not only is their lifespan longer, but the quality of the lives that they live, they're more connected. Trisha's saying the Blue Zone book is a good one. Socializing. Yeah, it's the way they connect to each other, multi-generational, just support. They live together in their families. It's the foods that they eat. It's the way that they rest, the way that they pace their day, and they continue to participate in life. They don't like, okay, I'm going to retire and sit in a chair and just watch my shows. They're not doing that. They're gardening and they're, rowing a boat and fishing and out there. So yeah, right. I think if you can find any examples, that's enough to debunk it's supposed to, or it will go this way. It will, if that's what you think it will do. And then if that's how you choose, and then that will support the beliefs that you have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would highly recommend that you guys all get a copy of the Blue Zones and read it or listen to it on Audible. And there's a Netflix series based on the Blue Zones now that I haven't watched yet, but I've heard really good things about it. And so all of these things can help, as Linda was saying, to condition your beliefs that this is possible, and not just that it's possible for someone else, but that, oh, if I understand the habits and the lifestyle and the things that helped these people live to be 90 and 100 years old and not be in a nursing home at that age, not be on prescription medications, still be active and caring for their grandchildren and helping out in the homes and enjoying their friendships and walking daily. That's another big one, is that people in the blue zones don't necessarily go to the gym every day, but they walk miles and they're very active just by virtue of their lifestyle. So
right.
We can gather a lot of clues from these cultures about what is a healthy way to live and what helps us to age well in a way that is not normal or conventional for the Western world, and that maybe you think isn't possible or isn't possible for you. But I am here to tell you that it is absolutely possible, that we don't have to follow the normal standard American lifestyle or the normal standard American way of aging.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. When you live in our culture, it's not easy. It's not easy to get the kind of food, easily, readily available and, easy to buy and all of that. But somebody said to me once, I can't really afford, the organic food and all of that stuff. I just can't afford it. But when I looked in her kitchen, there was probably 3 or 4 different bags of chips. She had a couple of ice creams in the freezer. There was like a lot of stuff that was always there, that if you cut that out, if you just bought meat and vegetables, this is kind of going down the road for nutrition. I didn't necessarily mean to do that, but I'm just saying, if you have a belief, again, it's about your belief. If you have a belief, I can't put my money there. Well, just look. and see, where are you putting your money? And what could you be doing differently that would actually support it, if it really mattered to you? That's I think the bottom line is, does it matter to you? Do you want to have a quality of life that doesn't have pain, that doesn't just keep spiraling downward? And what would that be worth?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that is the critical first step to any health journey. And the thing we have to realize is that we are making a decision one way or another. We are making a decision whether we are going to have health and energy and vitality, or whether we're going to accept the standard American status quo health, which is not health and energy and vitality. It's just not. It's aging and being on 5 prescription medications on average when you're 60 years old.
Right.
To me, that's not acceptable. And so I've made the choice that that isn't acceptable, that is not
Right.
the path that I'm going to follow. And there's another book that I would highly recommend to you guys called The Healthy Deviant. If you're not familiar with that, it's by a woman by the name of Pilar Gerasimo. Have you read The Healthy Deviant, Linda?
No, actually, I have not heard of that, so I'm interested to hear what you say.
So good. Yes, you need to read it. And all of you guys watching need to get this book. Her thesis basically is that the standard American lifestyle is leading us toward disease and early death, which it is, and that you have to consciously make a choice to be a deviant when it comes to your health and to deviate from the standard American lifestyle. And so she has a lot of evidence and inspiration to support this thesis, and then a lot of guidance in terms of just basic health principles to live by, to help you be a healthy deviant. But I think the real key, the inspiring thing to me is just making that choice and realizing that, oh yeah, if I don't want the standard American health, then I can't live the standard American lifestyle and make the same choices that everyone around me is making. And that doesn't make it easy all the time. But the more you adopt that mindset and the more you begin to make different choices and see how dramatically it affects your health, how much better you feel, how much better you sleep, how much better your digestion is and your energy is and your skin looks and all of these things, and that these different chronic disease dynamics that you've been struggling with begin to disappear miraculously, you realize, oh, wow, this is so worth it.
Yep. It's really true. And I was thinking of that and like applying it to the work that I do more, which is definitely health, but really around, stress and what's stored in our body from our past. But the same conversation applies because, well, first of all, I think in our society, we get a lot of points for being a martyr, for working harder than anybody else, right? To be the one who's like, oh, I could really one up you in what I'm doing, and what I've taken on. We get a lot of points if there's a lot of drama in our life. Just again, look at social media, look at all of the reality TV, right? The drama, which is really addicted to dysregulation, right? Like a stressful way of living, like betrayal and sadness and grief, and people who are on social media saying, I'm the, the Lyme warrior or the MS survivor or all of that. But like their identity and all of the acknowledgement that they get is around their illness. So you don't get a lot of points for being calm and healthy, and you know what I mean? Like you just don't get the attention and the point. So that makes it harder too. But our lifestyle is set up to get acknowledgement for just working your ass off until you crash. So the same thing applies as what Kristi was saying in terms of maybe food, or maybe this book, she goes into all of that. She probably does. So it takes something, but here's what I want to throw out at you as at least, kind of a parting thought is, what are we teaching our children? What are we teaching teaching our children? And look at just the health of our children, right? How many children as a 10-year-old can run. If they're an athlete at their school, then they're playing their sport. But if they're not an athlete, how many of our children can run far, can manage their own body weight, are eating healthy? And how many of our children really live on things that come out of a box or a package, things that they can heat up in the microwave, TV and things like that after school? So I'm making general statements, but just look the way that we are living and what are we teaching? And then, from my point of view, are we teaching our children how to regulate their nervous system? Are we teaching them how to connect to themselves more than wanting to be what other people think they should be? Like, what are we passing on to our children? Because Kristi, you said it really great. The exact words that you used, I can't remember now, but you were like, as in the Western culture, we are, how'd you say it? We are killing ourselves sooner and we're getting more and more unhealthy. That's starting in childhood.
Yeah.
So, if you're just interested in your own personal family, or if you wanted to look globally at the strength of Western cultures in the world, the strength as leaders, to not have people who are suffering with brain fog and other issues at 60, like across the board. Like, how are we leading our country globally? So there's our individual families. What do I want for my kids and my grandkids? And then how would I want our country to show up in the world? As like people who are disciplined in how they take care of themselves. So it's just a conversation to open up in your own mind. We thought it could be helpful, and you can clearly tell where we stand on it, right? But it's up to you on where you stand. But if you really looked at all of it, it's something to chew on, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully this gives you a different perspective on aging, and especially on our health as we age. And maybe you decide that you don't want to age in the standard American way either. So if Linda or I can support you in that decision, reach out and let us know. We would love to hear your thoughts, first of all, on this conversation. If you have questions or feedback, or let us know kind of what your thoughts are on this topic. And then if you have questions, post those below the video, and we will try to check all the places where this is streaming to answer those questions. And if we can support you in achieving your goals for your health and your life, reach out to us, because that is what we love to do.
Totally love to do it. Okay, Kristi, it was great. So nice to see you. Thanks, everyone. Trish, thanks for really keeping the conversation going. We love when people comment. Especially when they say they agree with us, which was Trish's last comment. She's like, totally agree with you, Linda. Boom, high five, Trish. So thank you. And we'll check back later, and we hope to see you next week.
All right, sounds great. See you soon.
Yep, have a good weekend.